What is going on, Guardians, and welcome back to another Destiny gameplay video. In this video, I really just wanted to showcase one of my favorite exotic weapons of all time in Destiny, a gun that's pretty well under the radar. I almost never see these in the Crucible anymore, but the Hard Light exotic auto rifle has always been one of my favorite exotic weapons in the game. Ever since I got it initially back in year 1, I immediately took it into the Crucible and made a video on it, and it was the very first weapon that I ever got 50 plus kills with in a Crucible match. And you know, it was never OP, but it was powerful, it was strong, it was a contender, you know, in standard Crucible. And you know, I really missed that, so I busted this baby out a lot in the past week. I even used it for a couple of trials runs. You know, a few weeks ago, me, Holtzman, and Apex Chris did a primary weapon only card on Trials of Osiris, and we weren't allowed to use special weapons, we weren't allowed to use heavy weapons, and the catch was that our primary had to be an auto rifle. So they used the Zeranea D and the Arminius D, and I used Hard Light. We actually went 9-0, no boons, no losses. And it was one of the most fun cards that I've run in Trials to date, and I had a blast doing it. But this gun just has so much character. You know, there's so many things I love about it. Some of the reasons I love this gun are its aesthetics. You know, as an Amalon, as a year 1 Amalon weapon that had a lot of character in its design. Just the way that it looks is super. It almost looks like a railgun when you kind of look at it at the side, sort of the profile of it. It looks like a railgun almost. It's so cool. The sound, the audio of this gun when it's being fired sounds so cool. They've actually changed it. I think they changed it back in I want to say year 2, maybe late year 1. They changed both the visuals of the projectiles that are fired and the audio of what it sounds like when it's fired. I actually think I preferred the original. I don't know if you guys even remember this, but back in year 1, originally Hard Light shot these a little bit less blue. It was more like an ice blue color projectiles, like light projectiles, like almost little balls of energy that ricocheted and over penetrated, and they sounded a little bit different. It was more of like a thuddy kind of a sound, less lasery, and the projectiles didn't look like these laser beams of light. I actually preferred the original projectiles and the original audio. I thought it was super cool. I loved it. But these, I mean, this is still really awesome. I mean, I can't complain. It still looks amazing and sounds amazing. You can put on laser light shows with this thing, and it's almost a little bit easier actually to place your shots because they serve as sort of tracer rounds. You know, these blue rounds. It's hard to, you know, it's hard to not know where your projectiles are going. And it just kind of looks amazing when you ricochet these things. They actually pick up velocity and whatnot, or it says damage after the ricochet. Now the ricochet and over penetration of these things, it actually works. Like I've damaged multiple opponents through one another when they line up in doorways and whatnot. I actually on stream this past week in Trials actually got a couple of kills around cover, like where I was ricocheting on anomaly, you know, up in like specifically room 1 and room 2, when guys camp around those corners and bait it with shotguns. I'd get shots on a guy and they'd run in there to try and bait me, and they'd just kind of crouch down around the corner with a shotgun, and I used the ricochet rounds to bounce it off of the walls, and actually got a couple of kills where I managed to finish them off when they ran for cover around the corner with the ricochet rounds. It was super fun, and of course Stream loved it as well, so it was a blast to use. You know, the gun's not terrible in Crucible right now if you use it. I mean, it's not awful, but at the same time, it's really not gonna shine too well in the current meta of the Crucible, so to speak. It's not going to be able to compete with the best things out there that everyone's using, but it's still not a terrible gun. It's decent at, you know, at least. You know, here's what I would do to it. I would make it so that it has a little bit more hip fire accuracy, because this thing really does feel like an SMG. It feels like a submachine gun, less like an AR. I would give it a little bit more hip fire accuracy. I would also give it just a slight damage increase, maybe just maybe 3 or 4 more damage per projectile to bring your overall needed number of projectiles down by, you know, 2 or 3 fewer projectiles. I think that would bring this in line with the other weapons in the Crucible that are performing really well. I want good primary weapons, not a good primary weapon. I want good primary weapons, a lot of them, you know, to choose from. And I would love if this was one of them. Let me ask you this, getting off of Hard Light a little bit, let me ask you this. What is your favorite exotic weapon in Destiny? Like, reach back into when you first got the game and you were collecting your exotics, and you know, maybe you got one from a raid boss or out of a raid chest or at the end of a nightfall. When you got it, and you remember your reaction, were you geeking out? You know, it doesn't have to be a weapon, you know, exotic armor even, because I remember when I first got my Heart of Praxic Fire to finally drop, and I was geeking out. I was like, ah, because I mained a Sunsinger at the time, back before all the OP Sunsinger, you know, shenanigans. But let me know, what's your favorite exotic when you reach back into your history with Destiny? What exotic item sort of stirs up your emotions and maybe brings back that early Destiny feel to you, that sense of discovery? I'd be really interested to hear what some of yours are. And, you know, I mean, maybe you're the kind of yours like, you know what, I legitimately loved Year 1 Thorn or Last Word. All the things that people were like super angry about, you know, I legitimately loved those. Or maybe it was friggin' Suros Regime, back when that thing was, they called it the Suros Regime meta. That's what they called it, and it got specifically targeted. Now that almost seems ludicrous that that a weapon like that would be specifically targeted, doesn't it? It's kind of funny how far we've come. But let me know in the comment section. I do read all those. I don't always respond to all of them because that's really tough when you get like 1,000+ comments a day. But I do read them all. So thank you for stopping by the video and watching, guys. Hopefully I'll catch you in the Crucible.